Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I thought I'd start off with a song. Oh, I'm not going to sing, I promise. It was sung by a group called the Fifth Dimension. And it goes something like this, the lyrics. When the moon is in the seventh house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, then peace will guide the planets and love will steer the stars. This is the dawning of the Age of Aquarius.
Have you looked outside lately?
Eventually, that's where we're headed. But not right now. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out we're not going to wake up one morning and a love fest will be upon us. I love you, brothers and sisters. In the meantime, we must prepare ourselves for what is coming next. I'm sure you're aware of those who would like to control every aspect of our lives and keep us in a low state. They've been planning it for a long time. They're tightening the noose and figuring that we're like frogs sitting in a tepid pot of water that is slowly starting to heat up. Will we need external preparations for what is coming? Yes. You can prepare food, water. But this is not a talk about anything external, but it's about internal preparation, even if you don't know exactly what's next. Let me be clear here. I'm talking from my own perceptions, and I'd like to share that with you. Perhaps I should have titled this talk, My Preparation for What's Next. You may agree with me, and you may have some of your own preparations. It never hurts to share. The first thing that comes to mind is perspective. To get to the unfolding of the Age of Aquarius, we need to realize that everything evolves. Let me give you a gardening example. I plant zucchini. If I plant zucchini this afternoon, I'm not going to get those lovely fruits tomorrow morning. I wish, but it's not going to happen. I have to tend the plant, I have to water the plant, I have to fertilize it. Then I see those beautiful orange flowers, and then I see the fruit. It's on skinny stalks. They get thicker, and eventually you see the result. It just takes time. Things evolve and change. And so it is with the unfolding of the Age of Aquarius. There needs to be a shift in human consciousness. That takes time. I'm not going to prognosticate for you. I can't tell you the timeline for when all of humanity eventually wakes up. The old order is breaking down and moving to something new. We're moving from every man and woman for themselves to we are all in this together. Have you walked down the street, any city where people, oh, you are part of the one? I don't see it. This is an amazing shift, is it not? This will be humanity's growing and learning process. Will it be smooth? I don't think so. Will it be challenging? Yes. Haven't you had a few challenging lessons? And did they lead you to something better? You became wiser, and what emerged was an improvement in your life. Humanity is living unconsciously. So what will it take to turn the tide? We know there's a roadblock to our awakening that's being set up, but how many of us have to wake up before we see meaningful change? Does all of humanity have to be on board? Let me give you a personal example. I believe that 100% is not required. I live in Redwood City, and I can go down Highway 84 and go to Hutter Park. It's like 15 minutes from my house. And in the picnic area, there's this large meadow. And a lot of deer congregate there. Sometimes I've seen 9, 10, a dozen deer munching on grass. I always like to see if I can get as close as I can without them noticing that there's an intruder in their midst. I sneak up quietly to get a better view. Of course, their heads are down, they're munching on the grass. But then one deer catches my scent. His head bobs up. Then another catches wind of me. His head bobs up. And then another. One becomes two, two becomes three, and before I know it, the whole group has moved because of a few sounding the alarm to the rest. And I believe it will be with humanity. A few will wake up, little by little more will wake up. It will slowly dawn on us that there are new and better ways to live on this planet. They say the American Revolution began with 10%. That's perspective. Now let's move on from perspective to another point I believe is important with respect to internal preparation. And I know you've heard this one before. Presence. And that's not something that Santa gives you at Christmas. It's being present for what is now. What's next is each step you take in your now. Live your life. Do the things that make you feel good about you. Don't worry too much about the manipulators, what they're going to do. Meditate. Love others. Be kind and considerate. Be compassionate. Most importantly, connect with your guides and teachers. Haven't we heard that we'll be shown the way? All we have to do is ask. Everything happens in your now, step by step. For me, preparation for what's next also involves, and you've heard this before, raising my rate of vibration. In the midst of difficulties, we look for the silver lining, accepting what is and looking at it from a higher perspective. I'd like to give you a personal example. Some of you know I used to belong to this religious cult. Part of the group's activities was fundraising in towns without soliciting permits. I was dropped off by my team leader in a small town in West Virginia. I was doing pretty good. It was getting towards evening and I was going from door to door. But what should happen? What should come down the street but a police cruiser? No, I was in pretty good spirits. And I thought, oh, here they are again. I was in really good spirits. Son, do you have a permit? No, sir, I don't. Could you please get in the back of the car? You know what? I didn't get the handcuffs. That's great. That added to my feeling of high spirit. So in the police cruiser, I was telling happy stories and maybe a few jokes. And I don't know what came over me. It just was that way. And because I had a lot of experience running around at different states and doing the same sorts of things. So I arrived at the police station, and I see the jail cells over there. And I meet the police chief. And I'm telling him happy stories. And I'm telling him some jokes. And he looked at me. And he said, I can't do this. Meaning putting me in the slammer. Then he said, I'll tell you what. I'll have one of my officers drive you across the bridge to the next town. I got a get out of jail free card. Yes. Isn't that wonderful? Yes. And also on my way over to the next town, I got to ride in the front seat. I thought, how will my team leader, how will he know where I am? Well, it's funny, as soon as I was dropped off, there was someone else for my team. Problem solved. The point is, higher vibration changes outcomes. If we can live it more consistently, it will be for the better and in ways that we can't imagine, even in the face of difficult changes. And here's another point. When you live a higher vibration, you positively influence those around you. They can't help but notice you. What is that? Something special that you have. They're impressed with your attitude and your action. That will influence our next. Look at the life of one who lived in the Mideast some 2,000 years ago. In our preparation, I believe we must recognize that a weapon will be used against us. It's called fear. It will be used by the manipulators to keep us in line. FEAR, false evidence appearing real. So then we must learn to face our fears. Remember the COVID time? What did you learn then? How did you face your fears? You think I'm going to tell you the easy 1, 2, 3 with this? I'll be honest with you. I don't have all the answers to this one. I recognize the weapon, but facing it, I'm learning as I go. And maybe you will too. One thing that comes to mind for me is being flexible. Flexibility allows you to embrace changes and look for new ways to do things. Accepting what is. Fear arises when changes come that you don't expect. I've also heard the sentence, I am safe. Safe no matter what. Again, honestly, this will be my learning and growing experience. I haven't mastered life yet. I don't want to leave you with a difficult point. So let's relax and everyone take a deep breath in and out. I have another amazing aspect of internal preparation. This is a very important one. It harkens a bit to having perspective. It's called cultivating hope and satisfaction in your being. You know, all is well and working together for good. Okay, so you would have those who would seek to control us. But there's something else involved. It's called, well, we heard it before, the Grand Poobah. Source has a hand in this. And aren't you part of Source? Aren't you a creator? To quote a Bible verse from Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have made for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. A good one. It isn't the manipulators who are calling all the shots. They think they are. The Creator wants to see us evolve. Wants us to realize who we really are. Wants us to live our love. Wants the old order to crumble away. Didn't we hear about the wave descending to our Earth from the center of our galaxy? Remember, Source is behind this transition, helping us to evolve to a new dimensional reality. There is a higher power at work with greater intelligence than those who would cleverly seek to manipulate humanity for their own ends. You know, I recently had a chance to go to the New Living Expo in Marin. You guys remember the same New Living Expo in the event center in San Mateo County here. And it was still kind of the same format. You know, you have the speakers, and then you have the exhibits. And some of them are really worthwhile. And others of them remind me of Huxter Hall. I can clean up your karma for $395 plus. I can access all of your Akashic record. There was one message from the Maitreya. This is supposed to be the second coming of Buddha. These were channeled messages in a basket, rolled up and tied with a ribbon. So I picked one. This message that I got offers a different view of what's coming next. And please, I'm not looking for the second coming of Buddha or the second coming of Jesus. I know that religions are replete with second comings. I think of this as a message from Source. It points to hope and satisfaction. Now, there's one word in this message I'll just define for you in case you didn't know. The word is rent, and that has nothing to do with what you pay to the landlord. It has to do with torn apart or torn asunder. So here's the message. And I love it. I put it on my bulletin board in my kitchen. Wherever you may look in the world today, you will find change. From top to bottom, the fabric of the old and decaying order is rent. From this, we can derive much satisfaction. For despite the pain involved in this process, a new and better world emerges. Therefore, my friends, take comfort from this fact and look to the future with hope. My plans shall not fail. My emergence takes place. My gifts shall I bestow. My words will guide. My will may strengthen. My teaching will abound. Hope and satisfaction. No, the old order is crumbling away. The good old days are not as good as we thought. Something new and better is emerging, like the unfolding of a beautiful flower. And once that flower totally unfolds, then we can go back to the lyrics of that song. Then peace will guide the planets, and love will steer the stars. Thank you.